Hello.
Welcome everyone to, there I am closer to the mic now. Welcome everyone to Rise, Rinse, Repeat, the podcast where I forget how to talk.
Oh my gosh. I'm Elisa,
I'm Trent.
and this is our podcast.
Okay, she's gonna fix my mic.
I am. I think he took mine because that looks like it was set for me because I'm shorter.
There we go. Maybe.
That's better. It's more your height at least.
Apparently I need to write our names on the mics, but okay. No,
That's okay.
This is a podcast about life, love, and family. Welcome everyone to the show. This is part 2 of Toddlers and 2 Kids.
Woo.
So, Lisa, have you start us off? You're the one who thought of the topic. I was the one who picked which one we're going to do, but you're the one who thought of it originally. So, what were you thinking for this part 2? How did you want to jump in?
Well, I have some notes because notes are very helpful to me. So the first one I have, I think these were questions I wanted to ask Trent. So Trent can get more comfortable talking. He can get more comfortable, interacting and stuff because he's trying to venture out and do like a little vlog talk series. I'm trying to think of the words, okay?
I don't know if it has words.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, vlog talk series of his own, which I'm super happy and proud of him. I'm currently working on editing like his beginning little like blurb video for his YouTube page and stuff. And I will link everything in here so people can go start just hitting subscribe even though there's no content. You guys just know how fun we are, right? It's only going to be on YouTube. That's where he's at right now.
Yes, I'm really not sure what this show's supposed to be. I just wanted to be better at talking, interacting, not saying that's a big thing I'm working on.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to
Exactly.
work on the job I want. I would love to do this someday, just be a full-time creator, whether it's writing, podcasts, videos, whatever it is. That's what I want to do, and it's not going to happen unless I go for it and try it. So I want to start somewhere, start with a little short video series, whether it's comes out once a week or whatever it is, something short, something for, YouTube length, because I find those are the best videos on YouTube. Whenever there's a 30-minute video, you're just like, get to the point. Because that's just the YouTube platform. It's not great for long form. And some stuff work on there, but not with what I'm starting. So
Yeah, and I'm excited for him. And I get to do more of the behind the scenes stuff that I did and studied in college. And I'm really excited to be editing again and taking editing notes, and because I'm doing it for somebody that I love. So it's not like, I have to do this for some company or something. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
it'll be fun. And it won't be out for a while. I want to make, like I said, just get more comfortable with this, work on it, practice, and just get some content that can be put up if I ever just draw a blank. But
I think this first beginning video is going to blow his mind at how many amazing things he actually said. So that's why I'm editing it, and I'm going to make him watch it. Because,
oh my gosh, that's torture.
No, because I think
I thought you said you loved me.
I do. That's why I'm showing you. That he said a lot of really good stuff that I think.
Okay, but this is not a podcast about me. This is about life, love, and family. And I guess that's family and what we're working with right now. But we are here to talk about toddlers and 2 kids.
I know. I was going to get there. I was explaining why I was going to have you talk so much. It was a good little segue.
It was good. I know. And then I brought us back by talking. That was your plan, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Good job. Okay, so our kids' lives, right? They're really important. As parents, we have a lot of influence in our children's lives. And last time we talked more about how, if we're not being examples in our kids' lives, if we're not leading them, if we're not teaching them, others will, including the internet or teachers or mentors, fellow kids, other parents, and it might not line up with your standards, but guess what? Too late. You know, and I'm not saying we're not perfect. Okay, we're gonna mess up. We got to give ourselves grace. I'm really hot. We got to give ourselves grace on everything, and so I think where that comes into play is just really paying attention to like how involved you are in your kids' lives and what's going on, but the examples that you're setting and the examples that they're seeing from you and your spouse. So my first question, and I'm going to wrap this in because, and if you're new and this is the first time you're listening, we do talk about our Christian faith. We are believers, and so this is going to have more of that element in it. And if it is also your first time, go back and listen to the first episode. And also listen to our story so you actually know what's going on and who we are. Anyway, and welcome. But who is Jesus in our kids' lives? But to also ask the question to our listeners, who is Jesus in your kids' lives? Do they see it through you? Or for Trent, do they see it through us? It's important to think about.
I mean, yeah, that's the ultimate goal that we're never going to do perfectly, but it's the goal. And so it is just asking yourself, who are you pulling from? Are you pulling from yourself, your own strength, your own willpower, or are you relying on God and just living every moment for what it is? Pulling on his grace, on his patience, on his compassion. Because that's the only way that we're going to be able to show our kids Jesus is by living it out and relying on him and not ourselves.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's way easier said than done. It's a lifetime of practice, of trial and error. That's kind of why we called this podcast Rise, Rinse, Repeat, because that's something we have to do every day. We have to rise up. We have to rise up to the challenge. We have to look at it like a challenge, something we're going to fail. So first we rise, and we're going to have to repeat it because it's going to happen every single day. But there's also that rinse in there, and that's recognizing God's grace. That we're going to make mistakes, but each new day, God gives us a new day to try to do better and work and get in His Word. That's a big thing. Is where are you pulling from? God's given us His Word to help inform our lives and help us draw us closer to Him so that we can do better each and every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm trying to thumb through these pages, and they literally, I don't understand why they make Bible pages thinner than anything on this planet, and you can never open them, and then you feel like you're going to rip them out if you do. It's ridiculous. Because
if you don't, you're going to have, the Bible's going to be in like 2 or 3 volumes because it would be so much thicker.
I'm just saying, I'm
just telling you why. I know. Just trying to do the more logical side.
I know why.
This is why.
But why? Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, now what I love about this version of the Bible is of the Message version is, you can go back and it breaks different verses down for you, and that's kind of what I was trying to do right now, because I was trying to look for look for things. Let's see. That's not what I was looking for. Sorry. Let me turn the page. I'm trying to find the right one, but you stopped talking before I could get there, so I'm sorry.
Well, I was running out of stuff to talk about. And I need to work on my breath work. Like, when do I take a breath? Because at the end of that, I was just working on one lung full of air and trying to make it last longer. No, just stop.
I don't know, breathe.
Take a break. Well, I also don't want to blow into the microphone because I hate that too.
Yeah, no, that would be really annoying.
And I don't breathe and then come back to it every single time. So that's something I'm working on too.
Okay, this is what I was looking for. It was in Matthew 18, 1 through 5. For an answer, Jesus called over a child whom he stood in the middle of the room and said, I'm telling you once and for all, then unless you return to square one and start over like children, you're not even going to get a look at the kingdom, let alone get in. Whoever becomes simple and elemental again like this child will rank high in God's kingdom. What's more, when you receive the childlike on my account, it's the same as receiving me. I remember when I first read that. And then I remember reading the next one in Matthew 19:13-15, because Jesus loved the little children. One day, children were brought to Jesus in hope that he would lay hands on them and pray over them. But the disciples shooed them off. But Jesus intervened. Let the children alone. Don't prevent them from coming to me. God's kingdom is made up of people like these. It's so easy as adults, we get consumed with adult things that we lose sight of being that example, that sometimes our kids are the example for us. And there's no shame in that unless we put that shame on ourselves, right? Unless we sit here and say, okay, this is unacceptable. You know what I mean? So we have to, again, we have to remember, like, we're not perfect, obviously, but we also have to remember how highly children are thought of in the kingdom of God, how much Jesus loved children, how we're supposed to have childlike faith, because when all these adult things get in the way, we lose sight of even how to be those examples for our children. And like I said, just really quickly, like I said, when our children are the example, it's really easy for us sometimes to shut them down and say that they're being silly or folly or whatever word you want to use, when in reality it's the exact opposite, like what Jesus was saying here to the disciples. Don't send them away because they're seeking me and they love me. Don't dismiss them because they're children. They could be wiser than the disciples or wiser than us in that moment, and we need to learn humility and humble ourselves and realize our children sometimes can teach us things, and we have to be okay with that. And if we're not, then we need to look at ourselves and say, what kind of example then am I setting for my child? How much ego do I have? How much pride? Do I have any humility at all? Or am I just selfish and worried about my self-image and my own self-worth, that I am not realizing what's really important?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Kids a lot of times will make stupid mistakes, and sometimes they don't even realize, and they're fine with it. And I think adults can make a lot more stupid mistakes too, when the stakes aren't actually that high, when you're not like, well, I'm just going to bet all my money on this hand of poker, because you lose and it's a stupid stake. And so yeah, there's limits to that. It is a lot of a paradox. That's what our life is, because we are supposed to have childlike faith. We are supposed to trust God like that, but also God doesn't want us to close our eyes when we're driving in the car and just trust him. So we have to do both. We can't just be like kids. Our kids need us to provide stability, to provide food, shelter, clothing, all that stuff. That's what God has given us. That's part of our duty towards them.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a lot of it is kids don't worry about the future. They have no idea what the future is. And sometimes that's what adults can do, is they can worry about things they can't control. I'm trying to think of an example. Just if the bills start catching up to you and you're slowly pulling for your savings or whatever, and you're just worrying about the future, like, well, yeah, you have to have a plan, because if you eventually drain through your savings, you're going to be out of money, and then you're in your whole issue there. But you don't have to live each day just with that gnawing at you. You can live each day for your kids, for your wife. Does that make sense?
No, it does, because I was actually going to read this right here in Proverbs 19:26. Kids who lash out against their parents are an embarrassment and a disgrace. And he also says, intelligent children listen to their parents. Foolish children do their own thing. Proverbs 13:1. Another proverb. Parents rejoice when their children turn out well. Wise children become proud parents. Again, Proverbs 23:24. So again, it goes back to the example you're setting, what your standards are, what your boundaries are, what expectations you are requiring of your child and of yourself as a parent, and what that looks like. And the biggest word too, and I learned this from my mom, who was reminded of it by my dad, consistency. You have to be consistent with your kids. You have to. And like I've learned in one of my, in my mom's group, the terminology too is your kids know where your limits are. They know your buttons. They know which ones to push. Some have faster action responses, like consequences, than others you're a little bit more loosey-goosey and flowy on. And you just have to then be consistent though. You can't be like, well, I'm usually loosey-goosey, but my patience is here today, so I'm and mean and snappy and da-da-da. You can't do that. That's going to confuse, no matter the age, any child. And it's going to come back and think that this is their fault. So, God is encouraging us too, as parents, to sit here and say, if you do good and you raise your child to be this respectful, and it's a commandment, honor and obey your parents. Respect your parents, don't lie to them. Don't do what you're supposed to the first time. If not, there's consequences. Again, we've been talking about this in one of the moms groups I go to, but when our children do great things, we praise them. And when they mess up, that's what matters of how are we responding? How are we going to respond? There are different ways to do so. And I've noticed when you respond in anger, that doesn't seem to work as well. If you respond in fear because your kid's in danger, that seems to catch their attention, and that's fine because you love them, you want to protect them. But I've noticed when you respond in pure anger, they tend to fear you for different reasons. And the fear isn't what God is asking us, our children, to have here. God wants us to have obeying, intelligent, wise children who aren't an embarrassment, who aren't a disgrace, who honor us, and become wise, good parents of their own.
Yeah, a lot of them honoring us is them honoring God. Because if they're going to love God, they're going to love us because that's what God commands us to do. And that doesn't mean we're going to be perfect or they should love us more than God. It's just, it's kind of like when you love your spouse, you're loving God. Like that's how you manifest it, is through the people around you sometimes. And just obeying his word. And that's what we're always trying to do.
Yeah, it's remembering. The disciples were smart enough to ask, who's going to get the highest ranking in the kingdom? This is back when I was reading Matthew. I forgot to read that little blurb, but I did mention it. Children do. People with childlike faith do. And, so that's something to remember as parents. You don't want to stoop to your child's level in a negative sense, but in the sense of when it comes to faith and that pure trust of love with God, that's what you want to be like. You want to be like your child, and they remind you so much. Evelyn has reminded many a times when I'm like stressed or overwhelmed that there's still joy, that it's still okay. It's really not that big of a deal, because God's got it. I have to let him have it. So I wanted to ask this question. What bad attitudes from kiddos can do to you and your spouse?
You just look like you're going to talk. Just like anything, you can feed off of other people's energy. When kids are really small, it's really easy to think that they're trying to annoy you. At least I can feel like that a lot. Like, oh my gosh, she's doing this on purpose to make me mad, and she's not even 2. She has no idea what she's doing. So that's something to remember. But yeah, if she's in a bad attitude or she's getting sleepy and she's fighting sleep, and the best thing for her is to just close her eyes and you just want to tell them that and have them listen, but they're fighting it, and she's shaking her head like crazy, trying to keep herself up. And yeah, that can be really frustrating sometimes. You're like, I know what you need to do. You know what you need to do, but you're fighting it. So it's just trying not to feed on other people's energy, which is hard to do, but it's something that we need to work on.
No, I mean, I definitely agree. And it's remembering on how you react to your child and then to your spouse afterwards. Again, I'm going to relate this biblically here with choices. Proverbs 18:21. Words kill, but words also give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. And we have to think the same thing in a situation where bad attitudes from kiddos, you can start feeding off your spouse's energy because they're irritated, or he can sometimes come home and I am like, I'm defeated, I'm tired, I'm pregnant, and maybe it's just been a long day, maybe she's been great, I'm just done. That energy can be picked up so quickly, and it's hard for the other spouse, or roles reversed. It's hard for the other spouse then to come in, and you have to lift up the situation. Okay, you need to be the reminder to the spouse that's feeling overwhelmed or defeated or confused or angry or frustrated or just like, take a deep breath.
Yeah, just like you can feed off of negative moods, you can also feed off of positive ones. It's not as easy. It's easier to be drugged down by mood than it is to be lifted up, but that doesn't mean you don't try.
Right, no, exactly. So like, we have to encourage our spouse in that situation in a way, and it might irritate the spouse because you might be being so positive, but you need to, because maybe the kid hasn't done anything wrong, or if the attitude is negative from the kid, how does that parent come in and not knowing the situation? You don't want to immediately start scolding. You just maybe want to separate the spouse and the child, or encourage the spouse. Oh, this is what this is looking like.
Or go take some time for yourself.
Hey, do you need to go to the bathroom? Do you need a timeout? Do you need a breather? What do you need?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just remember, that words, they have power, and it's our choice. Are we going to like tear down our spouse, tear down our children, or are we going to build them up? And obviously, if we do, we need to remember to apologize, to fix the hurt, to fix the wound, because we made a poor choice. Okay, I think that wraps up Toddlers and Two Kids, Part 2.
There you go. That was another good one.
Yes, it was.
You can say that about your own podcast, right? Yeah, we just nailed it.
Nailed it. Oh, yeah.
No, probably not.
Do you want to close this out again? I think you closed this out last week.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Is that all you do? I don't even remember. Thanks. I can say that.
Okay. Rise, Rinse, Repeat podcast. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook page. We also have a TikTok. Follow us on there for daily updates and notifications, just glimpses into what we're doing in our lives, or if we're posting vlogs. Our YouTube page, same ordeal. I'll link everything below for our podcast pages, or if you only watch on YouTube, it'll all be there. Trent's new stuff as well. Head on over there. Please rate us, comment, subscribe, like, wherever you are, on what platform. We just really appreciate it, and we love connecting with you guys.
Yeah, right now this is just for fun, but we both love doing it, so you never know where stuff like this can go. So, like I said, nothing's going to change if you don't try. So get out there, try new things, go try to live your dream, go try to make it reality. And it's small steps at first, even if it's making one test video that no one will ever see.
So you think.
No, we're not going to go there. Okay. Thanks, everyone.